Hello and welcome to WhatKeepsYouAwake.tv. It's time again to dive into the hustles, the hurdles, and the highs that keep small business leaders up at night. I'm your host, David Hooser, and I'm thrilled to welcome today's guest, Jennifer Rizzo. Jennifer is the founder of Earth Sugar Energy Bars, an organic snack that serves Arizona's active community. Recently, they were ranked the best hiking bar by Phoenix Magazine. Jennifer, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Good to have you here. Let's get started with our foundational questions. So as a Jersey transplant here in Arizona, what keeps you awake late at night?
Honestly, thinking about my potential and
Okay.
not hitting it when I know I can. I chew on that a lot. All the things I want to do. I've always been incredibly ambitious.
So you're an A-type personality, always working, always
Big dreamer.
thinking. All right.
Yeah.
Well, so big dreamer, you moved to Arizona.
Yeah.
You said you got off the plane, you started your business.
Yeah. I
basically
booked a one-way ticket out here. I always wanted to start a business. My parents are business owners and my grandparents are business owners. And I didn't really realize that it had like an impact on me, but I always had this thing where I'd work a job. Subconsciously, I'm like, oh, I want to be a leader. I want to create. And I wanted to start my own snack company and didn't feel like New York was a place to do that. It's financially is like really hard to start anything. And, so I just chose Arizona and I was like, I've never been there. I'm just going to go explore and weather's nice, heard about the desert, could be cool. Didn't know Scottsdale was a thing. Like I really truly had no vision of what Arizona looked like. So when I got here, I was like, wow, this is where I want to live. And maybe if I can start a business where I don't know anyone in the state, that would be cool. Like I don't have anyone out here that I knew. So I just wanted to just change it up big time.
So you're a true risk taker.
Yes.
Okay. Number one, you flew out to a state that never really been to prior in your past. And then number two, start something but your parents, what was their business?
They're in a pump service company. They sell and install all the big water pumps in the New York skyscrapers. They do service, maintenance, and that's been running for 30 years, as old as I am. So I kind of watched them grow that exponentially, and my whole family was involved. My brother works there. Then my grandparents owned a local food market, like a butcher shop in town.
Oh, okay. So a little bit of association to what you're doing now.
Totally.
Nutritional bars for.
It's actually funny because the process of making meatballs or making hamburgers is kind of what I'm doing now, but in raw fruit and nut form.
Right.
And it's so funny because I'm like, why am I so good at this random thing? And then I think back of my grandfather, my uncles, my aunts, they all worked in that shop and kind of did that repetitive motion over and over again.
And now so you started in your apartment?
Yeah, I started just in my apartment in the Biltmore area. In Arizona, you have this thing called the Cottage Pantry Act, and you can sell products that you make in your home that are low moisture or baked good, and you can start at local farmers markets, which I did. I was just I actually, before I signed a lease out here, I visited the Old Town Scottsdale Farmers Market, and I'm walking around seeing everyone with their posters. And what's cool about Arizona Farmers Market specifically is it's not just produce. There's people there creating product lines and are essentially pretty much mass producing them and then selling them at multiple farmers markets. So it's like a total business ecosystem. You can be involved in Old Town, Uptown, Gilbert, High Street, downtown Phoenix. There's flea markets. And I was just looking at this and I'm like, I think I could, make money, or just at first I was like, oh, I'll make some money and then test my ideas. I really didn't think the farmers markets was going to be able to propel me to do all my other kind of ambitious dreams.
So first time out, you had your batch. How much product did you take?
I think I had they were in bars at first, actually.
Okay.
The one bar I have now, it's called our Coconut Cashew. I used to sell in this 1 pound brick and vacuum seal it.
Oh, wow.
And I was just chop it up and,
like a small cake.
Yeah,
brownie,
kind of. Yeah, I would smack it in a pan and cut it with a pizza cutting knife. And everyone was like, you know, it was great because I went out there and I had a fun booth and everyone was like, I really love you personally, but your product doesn't make any sense. Like it tastes really good, but like, you know, and it was so sweet. Like people would really like leave me large tips being like, here's some money, figure this out. Like,
Yeah.
I really think you got something going, but we don't know what it is. And over time, you know, I'm a big hiker. My husband and I would run up Camelback Mountain like 4 days a week, like
Okay.
lunatics. And someone was like, why don't you just make it an energy bar? And I was like, oh, okay, like
There you go.
send it. And then next thing you know, I'm designing packaging and I'm figuring out the molds and doing the nutrition facts and kind of like just created it all overnight, more or less, and then ordered the packaging and prayed that the guy actually sent me the packaging and, you know, it didn't get scammed. But then they showed up and I was like, oh, wait, like this might work. They're kind of cute. Yeah.
So how do you determine the nutritional value? I mean, especially in that stage. Now you're just mostly going for taste and good products.
Totally.
Good ingredients going into it.
I'm somebody who I've been through a lot digestive wise, like IBS and stuff. And I used to be kind of in this like fitness world where you count your macros and everything's very number oriented. But I've learned like over time that like what really serves me and my brain and my body was just eating whole foods. Number one, they have to be tasty. Okay. And number two, just real stuff. And then, you know, so once I came up with my recipe that I loved, I thought was tasty, you can just put that in like a, you know, like a food app called Label Calc. There's like a bunch of like online nutritional databases, or you can even get them shipped out. But that was kind of like a thing that I had known from other companies that I've worked at. Like I've worked in a lot of different places and I'm just a retainer of a bunch of things until, you know, then when I started this, I was like, oh, wow, you know, that's why I ended up in all these weird jobs is because I actually learned kind of everything I needed when I started this. I was like, I knew how to do the nutrition. I knew how to build a website. I knew how to write a marketing email, how to do wholesale, accounts, financing, you know.
All those things that most entrepreneurs don't factor into their thoughts before. It's like, hey, I got this great idea. I'm going to make this product.
Yeah,
but
totally.
How are you going to market it? How are you going to pay for it? How are you going to scale it?
And scaling is everything and that's something that I love to share with a lot of my friends who want to start their businesses. I'm like, I've had a billion great ideas, but it's not a scalable idea. So it's not a great idea. And it's like, it's kind of like a journalism expression. It's called like killing babies, which is horrible, but it's kind of like when you have this idea that you love so much, but it on paper literally can't happen, you know, it's like, that's a great idea, but I just can't go with that, or I have to change it up. Like, you know, and that's kind of, I mean, I think my first farmer's market had like 19 products on the table.
Oh, you did? Oh, my gosh.
Oh, yeah. I had like all this stuff. I was like, and nothing made sense. And then once I realized that this bar, you know, cost-wise was the easiest to make, I figured out how to scale that. People were buying that in bulk. I understood like, you know, how to do like 12-pack bundles, like, you know, just getting people to want to buy more and consume more. And then I was eating them every day. And so it's easy to sell something that you love too, you know? Yeah. And you're like, wait, I love this.
Now, how did you start cloning yourself? Because if you're doing one event, but there were in Phoenix, in the season, there's events, multiple events during pretty much every weekend in different parts of town. Did you recruit friends? Did you hire? Yeah. How'd you solve that problem?
So my first recruit was my husband, Joey. Yeah, okay. Maybe not by choice, but actually it kind of is because he's like me. We're we're different in certain ways, but also very similar. Okay. And he would come to the farmer's market with me and I'm like, I want to sell, I want to sample. And I noticed that he would be like stepping in front of me and trying to sell. And we were actually getting in each other's way because we both wanted to win the sale.
That's funny.
I'm like, dude, get your own market. So we're like, okay, you know, like let's get our own markets. And it was kind of fun. We were competing back and forth.
The most
obviously I always won, but you know, he had some moments where he beat me. Like he's good. Like he is really, really, he works on the phone. Like he's just fantastic. So he's amazing. Okay. So it was just me and him. And then all these farmers markets started reaching out to me. So I just started hiring people. Sometimes it'd be customers who would be like, hey, can I work with you? Or I speak at ASU. Every now and then I go speak to the business college and I would get like literally 100 kids that would send me their emails. And I've done everything from jobs, internships, I've had some people who are with me for like 2 years, some people that will come in for a couple months. That's always, I think, the fun part about starting your own company that people don't consider is like that people factor, that is
Right.
really kind of, if you don't get that down, it's really hard to kind of like get to the next step on things. So,
Well, and at those farmers markets and events like that, you've got to sell.
yeah.
I mean, people will just walk by you if
Oh, yeah.
I mean, samples help,
Mm-hmm.
but people won't sample if they don't have some kind of encouragement.
There's definitely a method to it that
Right.
I've completely mastered. And it is that, like, you want to be the happiest person. You want to be smiley.
Right.
You want to invite people in. You want to crack jokes. And that's actually why I go to improv, and I like to bring my employees to improv, because sometimes, we like to think that everything's just going to be fun
So
and games.
you go
But
to, or you
I go
appear
to,
in?
I go to, like, it's kind of like a class.
Okay.
And so, because off your feet sometimes, for example, it doesn't happen a lot, but if someone comes over and says something about the product because they don't like it in a certain way, that's okay. But like, how could we take that
You turn it.
and then get them excited?
Right.
And it happens all the time where someone will be like, this kind of looks gross. And then they walk off and they bought 50 of them.
That's cool with me.
So, that's kind of, I don't take anything personally
Right.
because we're all consumers, but there is a way of connecting with that, with that customer, making them feel good. It helps when you remember names, and because people come up to me and they're like, my daughter has digestive issues. Like, do you remember her? I'm like, yeah, I do. Like, I
Right.
genuinely, I'm
Right.
paying
She's
attention.
got a good memory. Photogenic.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like to impact people. Like, if we're in person, I think we're in a society now where everyone's running Instagram ads, and that works, but it cuts that connection between your
Right.
customer. And, my customers are texting me, they're calling me, they're showing up on weekends just to say hi, even if they don't need any more bars. They're like, I just want to say hi, and
That's cool.
how you doing? Like, here's where I'm at in my health journey. Like, thank you. You inspired me to do XYZ, start my own business, and I love that I have that effect on people.
That personality makes a huge difference. And I'll tell you, it's funny because this weekend I'm staying at the Renaissance over here in downtown Phoenix, and everything's gone wrong.
Yeah.
And I stay at Marriott's all over the world. I'm a elite member of their, Bomboy program and all this stuff. So I get a little bit spoiled, but I pay them. I honor, respect their product by repeating my stay there, and everything's gone wrong with this one. But and just about everyone I met have been less than supportive of my concerns. This morning I had breakfast, and the attendant in their executive lounge has this incredible personality. I mean, just made my day and made me forget that this is a place that's really upset me for the last 24 hours.
Yeah.
And it just changed everything. And I
Totally
left her a big tip, and I told her how she made my day. And so it's interesting that you say that, because and it's hard when you're an entrepreneur and you're doing every facet like you did in the initial days where you were cooking, you were shopping, and then prepping and cooking and and packaging and writing the marketing materials and and selling and doing it all. It's hard to keep a positive attitude sometimes.
Totally.
You're just tired.
It is. Yeah.
But,
and I think like some people have that ability to always kind of be very positive, or I almost don't even think it's positive. I almost feel like it's compassion that I have because of that exact thing where it's like, if someone's paying me for a service or is exchanging money based off of something that I created, the least I can do is be kind to them and create this thing where I'm in, I have so much gratitude that you keep choosing, in this day and age to give me money for a product like that. I take really, really seriously. And I just feel like for my whole life, I've just been very bubbly, very energetic. Like I feel like I've enjoyed being in that space. And that being said, of course, I have moments where like I have anxiety and life is hard, but I've always feel like when it comes to people and how I react towards people, I'm really like, I just want to make sure that you feel good when you leave because it's so easy to do that too. You
Sure.
know, it's almost harder to be mean. Like
I mean, it takes work to
It does.
be mean, but sometimes
Yeah.
that's your mindset. You
Yeah.
gotta build. You gotta drive through that when you're having those difficult moments.
Yeah.
As an entrepreneur, you're the business.
Totally. And especially as an entrepreneur, because you think like, the advice I give to my friends is like, we always hear like the customer comes first. And I mean, that is true. Like when you want to be a business owner, it's not about
Right.
you at all. Like it might be initially in the beginning, I
Right.
had dreams and I had this thing I wanted to do. But the second people started to come to me and buy my product, it's like, okay, this is now about my community. And, I can't get upset when I do something that's not perfect. And, not everyone's going to be kind in how they give that to you. But I find like if you do kill people with kindness and you do show up and you do, take accountability for the things that you could have done better, they respect that significantly more than, you being like, oh, well, but here's my reasoning of why I did. Yeah, but they
Right.
don't care. Like
Right.
they weren't happy with what you did. And I feel like that's a lesson that I've even learned at old jobs. I remember one specific thing I did wrong, and I had a boss who was kind enough to sit me down and just tell me, not mean in a way, wasn't angry at me, but he was like, this is what you did and this is how you could be better. And that's kind of the approach I take with my employees too. Like even if they're not going to stay with me forever, if they're younger girls and, younger guys coming out of college and I see things that I could help correct, I think it's my duty to, not just for the well-being of my business, but just for them too. And as they grow up and move on, I think it would be nice if I could look back on all my employers and be
Right.
like, thank you. Like,
Right.
so I would like to be that person too. I think it's a
Well-
lot of responsibility when you want to start a business.
It is, and you are the culture. You are the genesis of the culture of your company. Right?
Yeah.
What's funny is you bring that up, and you notice I have a ponytail.
Yeah.
When I started my school, I had come out of my first retirement. I was in my 40s, and I'd come out of a retirement, invested in a couple of ideas, most of which I invested in charismatic personalities, not necessarily good business ideas or product ideas. But one was online school, and we started doing online curriculum for prep test, or ACT, SAT, GED prep tests, and from that we grew into a fully accredited school. And in the U.S., none of my students and parents really knew who I was.
Mm-hmm.
I was the founder of the business, but it was my student services team and my teachers that they knew, they connected to. Then we started going overseas, and overseas, every partner wants to meet the founder, wants to meet the owner, the business owner. And I would show up back then with ponytail, and they go, "Oh, you're the teacher. You must be the teacher."
That's
No,
so
no,
funny.
no. I'm not a teacher. You don't want me teaching your kids. But then I realized, that, again, like you're saying, I was selling me, and I had to go back to my corporate look and feel. So probably around 2006, I started growing out my hair after leaving corporate America.
Mm-hmm.
For the third time. And then I cut it in 2013 when I started going abroad, 2014 maybe. And then sold the school in 19, left in
Cool.
21, started growing my hair
Yeah.
back out. So, but it's funny how I didn't define the business domestically, so the U.S. market didn't know me as the founder, as the owner of the school.
Yeah.
But the international market did, and they expected me to look that look.
Mm-hmm.
So look the look, have the attitude.
Yeah.
I mean, you are the business.
Yeah. And I think that's actually really important. And I think we're in a society now where there's a lot of ego in terms of like, well, I want to be what I want to be, which is fine too. But if you want to play the game, you have to play the game. And it's not saying like be someone you're not. But, if you want to be respected, act a certain way. If
Right.
you're going to do a certain event and, you're not in uniform, or even little stuff like making a delivery somewhere.
Right.
And, and and I'm not perfect all the time on that stuff too, but it makes such a difference just for yourself, I think, as a business owner too, because it's a little bit delusional when you start a business and nothing is really happening yet. So you have to kind of keep not tricking yourself, but creating systems and structures and personas and outfits and stuff that makes you feel worthy of having and attaining that.
Okay.
I think that's really important. Like, like when I started, I was the founder of Earth Sugar.
Right.
Like, like that's something, I'm the owner of this company. I'm a small business owner. Like, we have a great product. Like, always just giving myself positive reinforcement where people were like, oh, what have you been open for 8 years? I'm like, started it last month in my apartment. Like, we're
right.
going for the gold,
That's cool. That's cool. So you started it when? What year?
2020.
2020.
Oh, I guess that was 2020. Yeah, it's 5 years. Well, I feel like my first year, like I didn't really have much structure. It was a lot of like, I started, I LLC'd myself, and then it was
R&D.
8 months of R&D,
Yeah.
buying stuff on Amazon, trying new websites, like, talking to myself in the mirror,
Yeah,
practicing
right.
sales pitches,
Cool.
and then really, I would say like 2021, that's when like I started making real money selling,
Okay.
thousands of bars a month were going out the door, shipping, and
Very cool.
so that's been cool watching it,
And how big are you now?
we wholesale. We have about 115 wholesale accounts. I ship
Okay.
all over the entire country, and then we do anywhere from this year we slowed down a bit because it's just farmers markets. After 4 years, I didn't want to do like 10 to 15 events a week, but
Right.
last year I did 300 calendar events.
Wow.
It was psychotic.
Wow.
I
All
never
over the
had
country
a voice.
or mostly in Arizona?
Mostly in Arizona.
Okay.
I've done a couple in New Jersey, like at the Jersey Shore, and I was invited to a couple of really big festivals. But when I say like 300 events, like on a regular Saturday, I would be up from 8 to 1 selling, pack up, and it goes somewhere from 4 to
else.
11 p.m.
Okay.
And that was every week for a really long time.
Wow.
And then I was producing Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. I would be in the kitchen, managing, and then usually when I'm not there, I'll still have like my manager and girls working to produce bars. But then I would be out selling Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 7 days a week, 24/7 on
Wow.
repeat for literally 4 years straight. It was a lot. But I
cool.
loved it. Like, I was like exhausted and
But now
feel
you're
myself
doing
back
the
in.
shows or not doing shows? Or
I
your
still do
shows are more
shows.
wholesale oriented?
They're kind of both. They're wholesale oriented. Like, we'll do like some pop-ups where we're sampling and trying to get, like other contacts to come see us in person, like where we kind of more like food shows. And then we still do regular farmers markets and festivals just because I just built this business so word of mouth in person, and
Right.
people want to come see us, and it's so valuable. I mean, I've met literally so many people by doing these farmers markets, like
Sure.
celebrities, the mayor, just like regular people walking around enjoying life, and you never
Right.
know who you're gonna
Who's
meet.
going to come your way?
Yeah, and so that's why I'm always like make an impression, because I've had some gigantic wholesale accounts that I've met at a farmer's market, and they'll be like, yeah, I met you, and my wife came home, or my wife met you, she came home with your number and said I have to call you immediately, and like I've gotten some really cool connections like that, and so everybody is so important to me. I'm like,
Right.
you never know who you're talking to.
So networking is key. In this
Mhm.
case, you're networking directly with potential customers or
Yeah.
wholesale partners.
Yeah.
And keeping your name out there no
Yeah.
matter what. I mean, doing 300 events as a small business in 1 year is incredible. I
It
mean,
was like
few
so
people
much.
can.
No, I'm definitely built different, like for sure.
Yeah.
And luckily my husband is too, because we just both have like an endless energy capacity. I could just like
'Cause
run
you
certain.
consume that
Yeah, I'm like a
Earth
morning and a
sugar
night
product,
person. Yeah,
so-
exactly. Exactly. But then also a lot of my time is spent in my car, literally driving to places, wholesale accounts, golf courses, hotels, hospitals,
Sure.
anywhere that has a counter can sell an Earth Sugar bar.
There you
So
go.
I'm just always be selling. Like, if I'm getting my nails done, I'm talking about Earth Sugar. If I'm getting my hair done, they're getting samples.
Very cool. That's
Yeah.
that's the way you have to be as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So our audience is aspiring entrepreneurs, early stage entrepreneurs. What advice do you have? Obviously, they're taking a lot of your energy through this episode, but what advice would you give them?
Just start. in any way that you can,
Okay.
and not be so critical of yourself when nothing makes sense. Like I for me, I think it was so important of realizing, like before I sold anything, I wrote down everyone I've ever met in my life on a piece of paper. And I was like, well, I've met thousands of people. Like, I think they would probably buy something for me. I think I
There's my
can make
first customer base, early
exactly. Like,
adopters.
your mom counts. If your
Yeah.
mom, because if your mom won't give you money for something that
You've
you've
got
created, it's
problem.
probably not a
Yeah.
good product. So,
You got a problem.
like, and just like get a couple people that you really love, your VIP customers, keep them, close to the chest as you're creating something. And, from there, you're able to spread your tentacles, but just keep going. And just when something gets really hard, I think it's important to understand when something's hard or when something's impossible, right? Like for me, when I had to figure out the machines and all those types of things, like I was like, wow, this is hard, but it's not impossible because I know
Someone's
Cliff
doing
Bar
it.
is making
Right.
100,000. So
Right.
like, and so sometimes you also have to step out of your categories of like, well, how do you make soap? How are things made? Like, and just being really curious and
Sure.
just being open to anything, don't be so quick to say no to something because it might not feel right, because in the beginning you're just trying to figure out really kind of like what is your journey
Okay.
and which direction you want to go in.
And obviously you pivoted from the initial format.
I'm like the queen of the pivot. That's what I call myself.
Now you're doing bars
Yeah.
and individualized packaging
Yep.
instead of bricks. And
Yeah. Yeah. And
So-
then from there we created bundles and we've created like,
okay.
gift boxes and, just all my flavors are because of people asked me to make that flavor. So I would just me and Mike would be like, hey, what flavor do you want? They're like, well, I really like banana bread. I'm like, okay, we're making banana bread.
do it.
And now that's my best seller. Or I'll just go
Okay.
out and be like, what limited edition flavors do you want? Just like really in tune with, you don't have to be listening to everyone all the time, because that's someone, regardless of how good you're doing, is going to come up and tell you you should change everything. And
Right.
because I told you,
Right.
and it's going to be better. So I think you have to have a certain confidence level in what you're doing, but also be willing and okay with, okay, this might not be the thing, and that's cool. My dad is the best at like giving me very simple advice. He's always like, just don't worry about the nickels and dimes. And meaning like, if you have to go try something new and it might fail, don't cry about it.
Right.
Like, you're a business
Right.
owner, like be a big girl, get it together. And, I really identify with that, because you don't want to be stuck in a fear cycle. You want to be able to give yourself a chance and try something,
We had a guest on earlier and that was his point is, you take away the goal versus the reality, or if you look at the gap between those two, that's the stress.
Yes.
So, you take away one of them, maybe this isn't your reality today. So don't stress over it. I mean,
Yeah.
now you're just looking at where you're at today
Yeah.
versus where you want to be tomorrow. And so those change your mindset.
Yeah.
So,
And it's a bunch of
Yeah.
little things. Like every day is a new day. Every day one small thing happens that feels small, but then I look back over 4 years and I'm like, wow, I started this in my apartment. Like,
and now square footage of your facility?
It's only like 800 square feet. It's
So
small,
1,000
but we're
square
making
feet?
thousands of bars.
Okay.
It's cool because I love to visit food production facilities, and obviously I need more space than that, but I'm someone who likes to make things work. I think a lot of the times if you invest too much in something that doesn't technically matter, you can put yourself in a situation where, you kind of bit too much off you can chew. Like,
Mhm.
don't buy a 10,000 square foot facility if you don't need a
Right.
10,000 square
Right.
foot facility.
You
And
don't need the overhead.
yeah, and we exactly keep the overhead low, be scrappy about it. We make so many products and we ship them out immediately. Like, we're not ever sitting on inventory. They're made fresh.
Is there a shelf life?
7 months, but then you can freeze them for over a year if you
Okay.
want. They don't melt, so they ship really well.
Okay.
They're nice and soft. They're not like most energy bars. Like, you bite into a bar and it like breaks your tooth. Like,
Sometimes you gotta.
this one is soft and it's like gooey. It's got cacao nibs, big sea salt crystals, like Maldon sea salt crystals. So you get a nice pop of like flavor.
Okay.
And it's great because most of my customers like aren't even gluten-free or have stomach problems. And that was my goal. I was like, because growing up, I couldn't eat anything. I'm like the
Right.
problem child. And everyone would always say like, oh, I don't want to eat like you. That's boring. That sucks. So I'm like, maybe if I called this company Earth Sugar or put a rainbow on it, make it fun, like, could I get people who wouldn't necessarily want to eat healthy stuff like excited about this.
Right.
And I have so many customers that are like, I would literally never eat a bar if you like force me to, but I would eat earth sugar. Like they call it something different, which is really important to me.
So one thing I'll point out, my last guest, she brought a thing of flowers. It was really nice. It really decorated the table very well. It would have been a really nice feature to have earth sugar bars right here.
I do have a couple in my bag, but I should have brought a display case.
Well, let's see one.
Do you want to pass me my bag?
Let's see the packaging.
I was actually walking up here, and usually I come with like so much display stuff, but I wasn't sure because the last time I brought a huge display to a podcast, they didn't display it, so I wasn't sure what the.
Well, we like to show the world,
these are for you guys to eat after.
This
too,
is
so.
you carry this around everywhere
this is my
you
bag
go,
of tricks
right?
also.
That's it.
So these are only a couple flavors.
But very cool.
I can also even
let's put them up for the
maybe
camera. So you said the banana bread.
Banana bread's my
was a big
bestseller. Chocolate
Okay.
cherry is my personal favorite. This one's delicious.
Chocolate cherry.
We got coconut cashew.
It's very nice packaging.
Yeah, it's French toast. This one's popular. Peachy berry. And then I also had a apple pie, a lemon square.
So how much protein in these?
Around 3 to 4 grams,
Okay.
depending on the flavor. I don't love the taste of protein powder
Sure.
eaten without it being mixed into water. I also think digestively, it doesn't really vibe with my stomach, and I
Right.
don't like to do things that I don't like to do. And
It's your prerogative.
a lot of people put them on Greek yogurt if they want a little bit more protein, but they're just super filling, and they don't have any of that, like, you know, sometimes you eat a protein bar and it has like an alcohol fake flavor kind of taste. Like these are just delicious. They're filling and they don't melt. So I have a lot of customers who like work outside in Arizona over the summer and they leave them in their cars and, you know, they always have them in their pockets. And it's just so funny too, because I didn't think, at first I thought maybe the packaging would be kind of more feminine, but I find that it's not, where people see it and they like light up and they're like, oh, this makes me happy.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
and it looks a little bit more premium. It's in a box they sell very well, like on coffee counters at golf courses, and it doesn't feel like you're just grabbing another
Which
snack
one
bar.
pairs best with red wine?
Honestly, probably chocolate cherry.
Let's get real now.
What I do
girl.
is I freeze it and I eat it for dessert.
Which one?
The chocolate cherry.
Chocolate cherry
with wine
and red wine.
tasty.
All right,
Yep.
that's my new favorite. I can tell you right now.
Just did that last night, actually.
All right, you're my kind of entrepreneur.
Yeah.
All
Yep.
right, good. Well, all right. So real quick, give our audience a quick tip on how to get a hold of you.
Yeah. So you can order our products online, www.loveearthsugar.com. We are on Instagram.
LOVE.
LOVE, Love Earth Sugar. We're on Instagram, TikTok at Love Earth Sugar. You can see all my very embarrassing videos. Went viral the other day. You can email me, Jennifer at loveearthsugar.com.
Okay.
You can come see me during the summer. I'll be at the Uptown and the Gilbert Farmers Market. So either me or my employees will be out there. But if you want to come and see us in person, taste some snacks, I always have crazy samples there. So
Very cool. Very cool. And we get to try these out.
yeah,
huh?
those are all for you guys to try.
All right, team. We're good. We're golden. Okay. Well, thanks for everyone tuning in to this episode. Remember to like or subscribe to whatkeepsyouawake.tv if you haven't already, and tell your friends to join this or a future episode of the show. And Jennifer, thank you for
Thank you.
joining us.